At this point, I'd like to say I'm surprised, but I'm not. Welcome to Tattoo Tabletop. My name is James, and today we're just really briefly going to touch on the Orruk Warclans. Now, I would love to just be, holding up my book, but friendly local game store did not get their copy in time, so we're just gonna wing it. Unfortunately, I did already look at the reviews and all the stuff, because usually once the pre-order goes, the NDA comes up and everybody can get access to it who's been sent it early by Games Workshop. One day I'm hoping to get on that one. This is more or less just going to be a little mini discussion / whatever you want to call it. At this point, the Orruk Warclans book has been leaked, and so far the best way to play that entire book, which includes Kruleboyz and Ironjawz, is through an Army of Renown. Now, usually I try and keep it pretty positive. Obviously, I had my complaints about the Slaves of Darkness book, and I kind of feel bad that I have to do this again, but I'm gonna. You know how many of you aren't subscribed to this channel? It's staggering numbers. You're getting an A+ in not being subscribed, so, go down there and hit that subscribe. It's completely free. And if you want to, hit a like. If your best way to play your army is in a regiment of renown, the most competitive, or in a more competitive way, I don't want to say the most competitive, but in a competitive way, is through an Army of Renown, there is a problem. Not to mention that a lot of the book was, in fact, copy and pasted from the index. We have seen this been happening. With the first couple books, I understand. Obviously, there's always a production when it comes to these sort of things. Rules, and as they were tested, were about a year ago. And at some point, we got to be starting to creep up on where it should start to change. But on some level, I got to make an argument for it. On some level, you should probably just change it from the outset, or find some way to change it from the outset, because otherwise it gets stale and it gets boring. Now that the book is out, this is what this army has until the end of this edition. That's huge. That means for the foreseeable future, until the next edition, this is how Ironjawz and Kruleboyz are going to play, with either this or the Army of Renown. That is a problem. That is an intrinsic problem, especially because Ironjawz were already struggling at the beginning of the edition, and they have continued to struggle even with little battle scroll updates. I mean, there's little things that might be able to help them a little bit, but GW has been really leaning on their 3+ save, and that's not enough, frankly, because the only way to get a ward is through the Weird Fist to keep them near spellcasters and priests. But realistically, you're an Ironjawz player. You don't really necessarily want to have to do that. I mean, we do now have the terrain piece and the manifestations. These are things that can help. And for the most part, looking at the rules, they're not terrible. Like, they're not bad. But they're definitely not going to be the linchpin piece that holds this army up and makes them any better. I thought Kruleboyz were actually still pretty solid before with their index. However, there were a lot of abilities kind of taken. You can watch 8 million other reviewers that have gone into depth on the Orruk Warclans and have covered all that. I'd highly recommend it. But essentially, this is just kind of a little mini discussion, because I want to ask you, and this is something that even Rob, the Honest Wargamer, asked his community about: when do you think the copy paste is going to end? I would like to hope with the Soulblight Gravelords book, seeing as we are getting new units. I was at LVO. I looked at the reviews. The, Vordry is going up big. We got the Barrow Guard. We got the new, essentially, Black Knights and stuff like that. So we have new units coming, which means that should shake things up a little bit. I would like to hope they're going to touch up the profiles and change them up a little bit. But that's kind of where we're sitting at right now as it stands, which is also very, very concerning. So this is just my way. Again, I don't have the book, so it's harder to kind of go into detail, but I still wanted to talk about this and address this because I still think it's kind of important. I really hope that this copy-paste ends with the Soulblight Gravelords book, and I hope that they really, really take a closer look at this. I understand, from what I understand, currently designer, this is his first year being the lead designer. I think he's always been a rules designer / writer for a while, but I believe this is his first year of being the lead of it. I understand playing somewhat conservatively, but on some level, there needs to be a ramp up of some kind. We need to have that shakeup, because when you just have the same things over and over again, it gets very stale. I mean, even look at 40K. The Grotmist detachments are really going to help the 40K sphere of things, because there's now multiple new ways to play all of their armies. Granted, Some armies got way better detachments, and some got okay detachments, and then there was a few that got just absolutely nothing, nada, zilch, just this is what Age of Sigmar really needs. It needs to continue that, where it's not just copy and pasting what it has and actually moving forward and growing. Again, this is not necessarily a review of the Orruk Warclans book, and you can look to other creators for that. But if I had the book, I'd go through it, but I don't know how soon I'm going to get it. And admittedly, once I kind of read through some of the things, I mean, you see all my stuff up here. I love my plastic, but and I also love my books. I love collecting the artwork and a lot of lore in there. But from what I hear, there's not much added there either. So I guess what it does mean is that it does buy me a little bit more time to go and paint something. I've been Tattoo Tabletop. See you on the next one.